Las mañanas son más productivas con Richard Vaughan.
You're listening to Richard Vaughan Live.
All right, we're back together again. We were having a long, deep conversation during the break. It was very difficult to come back on the air. Yes, because see, Jillian also sometimes works as a psychologist, okay? Mm-hmm. She does everything.
An amateur one.
That's even worse. Well, I'm not sure which is worse. An amateur psychologist or professional psychologist?
I'm just interested people tick.
Well, what makes tick?
What does it mean?
Well,
what makes people tick?
The clock.
Okay.
Tick, tock.
Like
tock.
move from one place to another?
No, ¿qué es lo que hace? How do you say to tick in Spanish? El reloj?
Hace tick.
Hace tick. Come on, you guys. Can't you be a little bit better, a little bit more creative? To tick. Tick.
Tick.
Segundito. To tick. Let's look at the for a noun. To tick.
Hacer tic-tac.
Hacer tic-tac. Hacer tic-tac. ¿Qué es lo que te hacen tic-tac?
We don't say that.
That means what makes you function? What's the internal, mechanism that is making you what you are and who you are? You understand?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
What makes you tick? What is the impulse or what moves you? ¿Qué es lo que te mueve? You understand? What makes you tick? She's always interested in finding out what makes people tick. It's a very common expression. This is very common in English, so you need to remember it. I don't know what makes her tick. All right.
Is the same as what inspires you?
No, inspire is motivational.
Okay.
Well, what makes you tick also, but inspiration is a high level of encouragement that brings out the emotional response to a stimulus. What makes her tick? All right. We also say to be ticked off, which means to be very angry. But in any case, your story is interesting too. But you're here every Monday. Yeah. Jillian is here only once. Yes, maybe she'll come back someday. Who knows? But let's find. We're going too slowly. We're not going to reach the end of
How long is the program?
It lasts until 9:30. We still have an hour. Yeah. And we've only reached 1968. Okay, so ask her where she went when she left England again.
Where did you go when you left England again?
Argentina and Brazil.
Wow. Ask her how long she stayed in South America.
How long did you stay in South America?
1 year.
For 1 year. Ask her if she spent more time in Argentina or in Brazil.
Did you spend more time in Argentina or in Brazil?
Brazil.
Ask her if she liked it.
Did you like it?
Well, I went with the wrong attitude. Instead, I had it in my head that I was going to emigrate. I should have gone thinking, I'm going to take a look to see if I would like to emigrate. My decision was that the culture gap between England or Europe and Brazil was far too large, and it was impossible for me to stay. So I spent 10 months in Brazil, and then I came back because I had no reason to stay longer.
Ask her if she lived in Sao Paulo.
Did you live in Sao Paulo?
No, I didn't.
Ask her where she lived.
Where did you live?
I spent several months in Rio de Janeiro, and then I traveled a little bit. I went to Minas Gerais, Belo Horizonte, and Brasilia, and then I went to Salvador da Bahia.
Wow, okay. Ask her if she was disappointed with Brazil.
Were you disappointed with Brazil?
That's a very, very complex and difficult question. I was in love with the music. I was in love with the language. But I was not in love with the people. I found the people extremely insincere. They live for the moment. They have a wonderful expression, which is aparece, meaning appear. Come and visit. But if you ever do come and visit, they look at you like you're crazy because they didn't mean it in the first place. It's all an illusion. Mm-hmm. I would say the most...
Illusion means, it doesn't mean illusion, it's espejismo.
Mm-hmm. I would say that the most interesting Brazilians are living in Paris or they're living in New York, but they're not living in Brazil. However, I did manage to meet Caetano Veloso and photograph him. So that was a feather in my cap.
All right. Ask her where she went after Brazil.
Where did you go after Brazil?
I came back to England, and believe it or not, I became a language teacher, a TEFL language teacher.
Wow. That's a downer.
No, it opens many, many, many doors.
Yeah, I know.
After that, I went to Mexico.
Wow. Ask her how long.
America and Mexico.
All right. Ask her how long she lived in Mexico.
How long did you live in Mexico?
Well, I spent 6 months in the United States, and I spent 6 months in Mexico.
Ask her where she lived in the States.
Where did you live in the States?
No, I traveled. I didn't live anywhere.
Ask her where she got the money. Ask her if she's from a rich family.
Are you from a rich family?
Not especially. I rented my flat, which paid for the trip.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I recall I asked for 3 months in advance, and I got it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then she traveled around, renting a car or traveling by bus?
No. I had the most amazing airline ticket. In the old days, you bought mileage. And so I had this amazing ticket, which started in Canada. It went to, the routing, I can remember it. It started Canada, went to Montreal, but I never got there because there was a snowstorm. It was then New York, Boston, New York, Philadelphia, New Orleans, Phoenix, Arizona, Grand Canyon, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, and then I recall I went by train to San Jose, where I had a cousin, and then San Francisco, and then from San Francisco, I can't quite remember, Santa Barbara, I think, but back by train, and then I entered Mexico,
Tijuana.
And I went to Puerto Vallarta.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I want to do that.
To go to the States and to Puerto Vallarta. Yeah.
And go from one place to
where
another.
They have the night of the iguana.
But my ticket took me into Mexico, and then eventually, it's a long time ago, back to England via Jamaica, but I didn't go. And it was all on mileage. I don't remember the price of the ticket, but it got paid because of my rent.
So you spent 6 months
a year
in Mexico, in Puerto Vallarta mainly?
No, traveling.
All right. Okay. Ask her what place she remembers the best from that year.
Oh,
what
my
place
God.
do you remember the best from that year?
Impossible. Oh, New York. I would say New York.
New York City. Okay, good. And ask her how long.
And San Francisco.
Okay.
Can I ask her something?
Yes.
Something or something?
Anything.
Something.
Were you traveling alone?
Alone, yes. Always the best way.
Okay.
Like you,
Actually, I spent 3 months in California. California is wonderful, but unfortunately I've never been back.
All right.
I have been back to New York to work, but...
Okay. And so then ask her where she went. Ask her if she came back to London.
Did you come back to London?
Or to Manchester?
No.
After Mexico?
I'd left after I came back to London.
All right.
So we would have been 19... No, not true. No, I went to live in Paris. I was offered a job in Paris. My God, I'm forgetting.
Ask her what job she had in Paris.
What job did you have in Paris?
Well, I met the director of an organization, a cultural organization called FMVJ, which was a travel company sending French students to Mexico. Okay. And so they needed someone, a receptionist. So I was offered the job on the Friday, and I was told that if I could get to Paris by the Monday, I would have the job. So I just flew out of Mexico. I must have gone straight to Paris because I remember I didn't have any clothes. I didn't have anywhere to stay. I think I ended up on somebody's floor initially anyway. Yes, life was an adventure. Yeah. but that was the beginning of a 25-year relationship with Paris.
Ask her if she lived in Paris for 25 years.
Did you live in Paris for 25 years?
No. I lived in Paris for about 2 years, and then I commuted between London and Paris. So I was going, I don't know, maybe 8 times a year initially, because by that time I'd got into the world of antiques. So I was traveling before the tunnel was built, of course, between London and Paris.
Ask her how she got involved in antiques.
How did you get involved in antiques?
Well, that's quite a story. What happened was I went to visit a friend who was selling bric-a-brac in Portobello Road. Now, Portobello Road is the big London flea market. And I had previously met an English woman who was dealing in Art Nouveau glass, dome, gallet, and she had invited me to see her collection or to see her stock. And she was buying in Paris and selling in London, in Portobello Road. And I remember thinking, oh, I'd love to do that job. The freedom, working for yourself, which of course was very important. But I had no experience, of course, and I didn't have the capital either. I mean, she was dealing in valuable glass collectibles. Anyway, I put that in my subconscious and continued my life. And then I went to visit this friend in Portobello, and she was selling bric-a-brac, just rubbish. She had lace and various things, which she'd bought literally for nothing in jumble sales, usually, or bazaars organized by churches. Okay. And the year would have been 1977, 1978, I don't quite remember. And while I was standing talking to her, she had no chair, and she was standing on a rug behind a table. And a French woman walked past and pointed to the rug and said with a very, very heavy French accent, "How much is the rug?" And my friend said, "Oh, rug, no, not for sale, not for sale. I sit on it." Well, that wasn't at all logical because the rug was on the floor and she had no chair. How she could have sat on it and been below the table level was a bit weird. So I said to my friend, "Why don't you want to sell the rug?" And she said, "Well, the rug, it cost me nothing. It was in a charity shop. It cost me 40 pence. So I said, "Do you want to sell it?" She said, "I don't care." So I picked up the rug. I spoke in French because my French was pretty good. And I said to this woman, "It's 5 guineas."